This is what the railway station in Kramatorsk looked like yesterday, mostly women and children waiting to be evacuated. This morning, 2 Tochka missiles were fired in its direction, yet another example of the ruthlessness of the Russian military. People in need of medical assistance were taken to hospitals in the region, and we are also receiving help from hospitals in nearby regions. The demolition of towns in the Kiev region, recaptured by Ukrainian forces, continues all the time. Work has begun on the decrushing of Borodyanka. It is much more terrible there than we thought. Many more victims. And what will happen when the wind knows the whole truth about what the Russian army did in Mariupol? On every street, there is what the wind saw in Bucha and other cities in the Kiev region after the Russian troops withdrew. The same examples of cruelty and terrible crimes. More mass graves are being discovered in Bucha. One is located near St. Andrew's Church. The burials were organized by the local authorities. They are doctors, morgue workers. The graves were built during the Russian occupation. Before that, the bodies laid in the streets and were eaten by dogs. The Russians turned a blind eye to the burying of bodies by local residents. The nose of the village of Yahidne, near Chernihiv, was locked in a cellar by Russian followers, with about 130 inhabitants. For a month, at least 12 people died. People were crowded together, including children. They lived next to dead bodies. Russian soldiers or the fighting outside prevented their removal. Similar situations are also taking place in other villages. In the morning, they herded us into the school cellar, by force, holding us at gunpoint. Compared to all the houses, the cellar is big, as it used to be a sports hall. It was very difficult to breathe, especially in this large room. There were no windows. People were suffocating. It was very hard. We were there from the 5th to the 30th of March. The names of the people who died are written on the basement walls. These 3, 2 grandfathers and a woman, we managed to bury, and the man and the boy were laid next to them, but we didn't manage to bury them because the shelling started. We just barely covered their bodies with earth. Ukraine is continually taking steps to evacuate civilians from towns shelled by Russian forces. Some 4,700 people managed to leave yesterday, including from the Zaporizhia region. This includes more than 1,200 who left the city of Mariupol. According to Mariupol authorities, 160,000 people may be in dramatic humanitarian conditions in the southeast of the country. Residents cannot keep up with burying the bodies in the city, where fighting is still going on.
Bucha massacre is just the tip of the iceberg. We already see from reports from Mariupol that Mariupol is much, much worse on all accounts.
The regrouping of Russian forces to the Kursk and Belgorod regions on the Russian-Ukrainian border is underway. It has been reported that the Sumy region has been completely liberated, and the Ukrainian command is talking about winning the first phase of the war. Fighting is taking place in the eastern and southern oblasts, in cities such as Izium, Severodonetsk, Popasna, Mariupol, and in Nikopol. The target of the new Russian offensive may be the Donbass. The General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces has given an estimate of the aggressor's losses, including approximately 19,000 soldiers, 700 tanks, and over 300 artillery systems.